Well, it's the 17th of February today, and I've got, as you can see, I've got the water flowing here in this fish pond and throughout the aquaponics here, since it's been shut down pretty much all winter long. Now, one of the first things we've got to do is see how the chemistry is, and I'm going to check the pH here in just a second. And anyway, what we've got in here is a whole bunch of goldfish. You know, some of them are that big; they're huge. This is about 5 feet deep, and as you can see how big it is, it's, I don't know, 5 feet across and maybe 10 feet across the other way. But anyway, let's go check the pH. Now, the way I'm going to do that is one of these grow beds here that the water is flowing through. I'm just going to take a little sample of water out of here and see what we got. And the way you do this is you just put some drops of the indicator in here. 1, 2, 3. And then you compare it to a little color chart. And let's see what we've got here. Let's see here. I don't know if you can see this, but let me try to show you. Whoops. I don't know if you can see the color on this or not, but anyway, just so you can, well, I'll tell you what it is. Basically, it looks to me like it's clear on this side over here where it says 7.6. So I just measured the pH and according to the color indicator, it's 7.6, which is way, way high. So we've got to do something to knock that down, and I'll tell you how we're going to do that. But first, let's check the dissolved solids. Now this will give you a measure of how much fertilizer you've got and so forth. Not in, you know, how much of each little thing, but just in general, the total of all the salts and fertilizers you have in there. And it looks like 380 parts per million, which is quite low. So we're going to have to add some fertilizer to this to get this up going. But it's a little early yet. Like I say, it's about 17th of February, so we're not starting to grow anything in here yet, but we've got to get it kind of right. Now, the way we're going to get this pH down is, you see the pipe down here. This is the return to the fish pond here. The water's pumped up here into all these grow beds like this, and you can see a pipe right there. It goes back into this pipe, and it all runs down back to the fish pond. Now, what I'm going to do is just pour a little bit of this muriatic acid. And I know about how much to pour in just from experience, but you know, if you've got something like this, you better kind of know what you're doing, because if you overdo it, you'll kill the fish. So here we go. Now it ought to be about enough. And what I'll do is let that settle for a while, let it mix in there, and come out here again and see just where the pH is, and kind of adjust it. Now the other thing I want to show you is in the last video, if you recall, I was putting these grow beds in, and what I've done is I've filled up 7 of them here, I think. Yeah, 7 of them. And what I've got is a mixture of, it's just compost and steer manure that I bought over at Home Depot. It's like $2.50 a bag, so it's not bad. And what I did was I put 2 bags in each one of these, and then I filled the rest with another, about the same amount of peat moss, and then I have a big collection of ash that I've gotten from burning stuff in the fireplace and so forth, and I collect the ash and I save it. And then I put some ash in here. So I expect that when I'm done here, that this will be a little bit high in pH, but we'll see what we've got when it's time to do that. But anyway, this is looking pretty good, I think, as far as, you know, how the feel of the soil, you know, being nice and fluffy and not clay-like. So I think this is going to work out pretty good. Now, one of the other things I've got to do is pay some attention to these older grow beds that I've got here. They do need to be properly updated for fertilizer and pH and things like that. And let me show you here. This is interesting how this can change from grow bed to grow bed. Now, these are the ones, these 4 here. I grew these 4 right along here. I grew beets in, and there's still one in there. Now, watch this. I'll set this for pH, and we'll look at this and see what happens. Now, there it says the pH is it's coming back down, but when I first stuck it in there, it was 7, it was 9. Then you come here to the next one, and see it's way down there, and it's coming back up. I think I'll go with how it is when you first stick it in there, but there's one that's right on 7, and then this one here is right on 7. So 2 of them were high pH, and the other one is right on. Now these are the carrots, where I grew the carrots, and as you can see, these are all kind of where they should be. Now let's switch this over to measuring fertilizer. Now I guess this is what this is doing, is measuring the salt, the salts and the stuff, just about how, kind of dissolved solid, kind of a reading. As you can see here, it says there's not much fertilizers in here, and there's not much here either. And let's go over here to the beets, and not much there. And go to the next one here, and it's showing there's not much here. So it's showing that my grow bins, at least by this meter, aren't very good. They don't have a lot of fertilizer in them. The soil is not very enriched. So we're going to have to pay attention to that. Well, so it looks like we're going to have to pay some attention to the pH and the fertilizer content, shall we call it. Just making sure that these are good and fertile soil. Now you see my little sprinkler system here. Even though the fertilizer levels are looking kind of low, looking kind of poor in these grow beds, this water comes out of the fish pond. So if I can get the fish pond water up to a fairly high fertilizer level, that ought to take care of this. Now as far as the pH, usually the fish pond is high in pH as well. So these look like, if anything, they're probably a little high in pH. Especially on this side here where I put the ash in. The ash tends to drive them up to a pretty high pH, so I'll have to water those so I can check it out and see what we got. Now, these have been watered here quite a bit, and that's why the pH checker there, the soil checker, that's why it works. Because this is moist, it's been watered. Anyway, let's go over to the other chicken house and the germination boxes and see how those are going. I think it's been about 2 weeks since I've given you an update on how the grow boxes here are doing, germinating the little plants that I've got started. So let me open this up and I'll bring you over and show you how things are going. So as you can see, it's about 70 degrees in here, but now these are the beets. As you can see, they're probably about the same as the last time that I showed you. And I'm not really too thrilled with these. They don't seem to be growing very well, but if they just hang in there, they'll probably be good enough. Now the carrots look the same. Kind of what bothers me is, you see some of the carrots have been laying down. I don't know if you can see. See, there's one there. See, so there's the germination there is not going very well. And I'm not sure why that is. It may be that the soil is too poor, or it's too full of something. But anyway, I might have to readdress that and fix it. But anyway, now here's something new. These are eggplant, Italian eggplant. And as you can see, one is coming up. Now they've been in there about a week, so I imagine the others will come up too. I hope they do. But that's how this one is doing. Now I'm taking a look over here how this one is doing. Now this is peppers. Golden peppers, Golden California, I think. But anyway, these have been in there for about 2 weeks now, and they don't seem to be germinating. As you can see, I don't see any coming up now. Either the seeds are just too old or duds, or maybe they just take a little bit longer. But we'll watch these for a little while longer and see what happens. So there you are. That's how things are today. It's the 17th of February. And, this is way early in the year to be worrying about planting things, but I want to get some seeds and some seedlings started to where I don't have to run down to the store, and buy some seedling plants that are started, because, they're expensive. Cheap ones are like $4 a piece, and I'm going to want to have at least, a dozen or more of each one. But anyway, we'll see how this goes, and I'll keep you updated, and hopefully turns out pretty good.